bit, it brings such a change in our life, such a change in our attitude, our outlook. And yes, stuff happens, but you're not going to take so much pain from it. And you're certainly not going to end your life because of an argument. Of course, that wasn't the reason as such, that was the
Yeah,
trigger.
it was a
But I mean,
trigger, yeah.
yeah.
And I think what you said is very important, that we become, some people become addicted to therapy because it gives something. So and it just goes on to show the person who is getting addicted to something is the vulnerability. So attachment, we often hear the word attachment causes pain. So that boy was emotionally very much attached, and then and like you said, there were so many other issues that was a trigger, and he ended his life. So, Mark, that might actually take us to the belief system that you hold about ourselves, about our lives, the perceptions we have, and then why some of us are more negative than others. You mentioned that you might see the sky is dark, um, and there's nothing there, but if we use our intellect, it tells us that you may not see the sun, but it is always shining somewhere.
Yes, it's a lovely metaphor, isn't it? And so true as well. And with belief systems, our deep held, which is like our deeply held convictions and attitudes of mind, it's really worth understanding how much we can be a subservient, a slave even to our own belief systems, because they're running the show. If we're not
Mhm.
careful, they run the show. And if they're not empowering beliefs and supporting beliefs, if instead they're beliefs which hold me back, which keep on putting obstacles in my way, through which I sabotage myself, then of course my whole journey in life is going to be so difficult. And one way of understanding what kind of belief systems you've got is just
Mhm.
think about something that you keep on meaning to do. For example, it could be something as simple as get organized, clear the house out or the flat out or room out, whatever it is.
I keep
And every
postponing.
time and you keep postponing. And
Hmm.
if you take yourself to that point of thinking to actually do it, and just
Hmm.
observe the resistance that comes in the mind at that time, because that's the insight to the belief. So it's almost like there's a belief that I'm not an organized person, I'm a disorganized person, or I, I'm uh, I'm very ordinary and don't deserve success. Because if I relate to kind of being organized and very having everything sorted out, that's associated with success. But
So,
if
Mark, you mentioned something that is very nice, that which is as simple as organizing your desk, organizing your office, your house. So when somebody feels that I'm not organized and they have clutter all over the place, what could how to switch that from being unorganized to being organized and superb.
yeah, I think first of all, there's two things. First of all, is to
Hmm.
recognize or accept that I am responsible, and it's shifting blame to responsibility. So,
Hmm.
of course, in this example, I can't really blame anyone else for me being disorganized. It's 100% me. But at
How
the
about
same time,
excuses? How about
so
excuses? Oh, I don't have time. I'm tired. Um, I can't find things. Making excuses.
yeah, excuses are certainly there. But even with those excuses, if it's been going on a long time, then I think each one of us will know that it's something I don't really intend to do.
Hmm.
Means that I want to, but I know I'm not going to do it. So if I've tried to do something many times, And each time I've made an excuse or got distracted, procrastinated, as you said earlier, it
Mm-hmm.
shows that that action or that result I'm looking for is not in alignment with the way I see myself. And so, if it's not in alignment with the way I see myself, I'm actually going against a core aspect of my identity. And
I
of
see.
course, your consciousness is going to resist any attack on your current identity.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's the good thing to realize what you're up against. But the way to start bringing about transformation is to see yourself in your mind's
Mm-hmm.
eye, behaving and responding in the way that you would like to do. So you have to go through the motions in your mind and, in particular, feel it. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about just thinking or visualizing, that's a good
Mm-hmm.
part of it, but it's to feel it as if it's happening. So to get into the experience as if you are really having the experience of doing the things happily and easily and peacefully, which you've been resisting to do in this example. And
Mm-hmm.
this is feeding the subconscious mind with a very powerful signal that this is your new identity. And this has been
Amazing.
backed up by so much research um, in people who they've got them to imagine doing something,
Mm-hmm.
and and when they finally do it, they're more effective, or at least as effective as people who have been doing the physical practice of that said thing, whether it's a musical exercise or whether it's a workout, or skiing was one example, piano playing was another.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the power of the mind. It's incredible.
It is. It is. Um, I was reading something, well, not reading actually, listening to a YouTube book by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and
Mm-hmm.
he talks about giving fake medicine to a group of people, fake painkillers to a group of people who have pain, and also the same and proper medicine, painkillers like paracetamol, for example, to those who also have pain. So they both got better, although
Mm.
one medicine didn't have anything in there. There was no medicine in what they took. But because they believed they were taking medicine, they felt better.
That's phenomenal, isn't it? In fact, I
It
just looked
is.
over because I've got that book, You Are the Placebo by Joe
Oh, yes,
Dispenza.
yes, yes. I thought what you were looking at.
It's over there.
I thought Joe Dispenza was standing there for a moment.
No, Joe
Yeah,
isn't, but his book is.
yeah, yeah. It's a very powerful book, isn't it? And
Mm.
it's very, very, very amazing what he discovered.
Oh, it
So
is, yes.
how can we become our placebos? So that we don't have any of these issues, and we feel happy, fulfilled, be proactive, and succeed in whatever we do.
Well, I'll share with you what has been working with me, for me,
Hmm.
because I've explored this subject a lot and I've really wanted to bring about some transformation in myself on this level of beliefs,
Hmm.
which is basically what we're talking about. And it starts with a vision of how you see yourself, because we all have a self image that we carry around with us and we're constantly updating it, but usually just a more of the same. And so I need to clearly describe that how I see myself,
Hmm.
and basically to clarify for myself all the things that I'd like to do that I've never done, that I haven't, and I'm resistant to doing. So I get a feel for what kind of inbuilt belief systems I've got,
Hmm.
what kind of fears, and then to create a vision of yourself, a holistic vision of how you would like your life to be. And it seems a
Hmm.
bit kind of ethereal or floaty or kind of silly fun and games, but although it seems like that, is actually very powerful, because this way we see ourselves has a direct impact on our consciousness. So to actually create that awareness of what of how you'd like, what kind of person you want to be, or what you want to have, or what kind of life you like to live, but in such a way as if it's already happening. So you're feeding those feelings to your subconscious mind. And one of the powerful things to use in this is affirmations. And every morning and night to have a list of affirmations to read. And the
Mm-hmm.
key thing with affirmations is not actually just reading them, but to feel them. So the
So how
whole,
many affirmation how many of those can you do at any given time? And should the affirmations be the same ones, or you can change?
yeah, well, I made up a list of 20, which were covering different aspects of life. And I made them quite extreme because I was looking for a lot of change.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they had to be believable. And the main thing was to include, make the affirmation present tense, but at the same time about experience. And so, for example, if you were looking for health, it's not that if you said an affirmation, I am a tremendously healthy person,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're not, then then your consciousness is going to resist that one and think you're trying to kid.
So what would you say instead? You are
So,
becoming healthy.
well, you could say something like that, or I love having the experience of continuously improving my health. So I love having. I
Yeah.
love is the feeling. Having means it's in the process of change, experiencing continuously improving health. And so that's not going to be a suggestion that my consciousness is going to resist.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one way, a very powerful way of having affirmations. But the key to it is when you say them, you have to, on one hand, embrace the affirmation, get a feel for it, but at the same time, observe your inner response to it. And if there's something about the wording you don't like, then you
Yeah.
have to change it. And so what I've been doing is I've created a list in a Word document of affirmations, and I've updated it several times
Mm-hmm.
because after a while I found that there's certain sentences I was resistant to.
I have a I drew up three um, three words, like really short ones, after my training with Tony Robbins in America. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so one was that I realized that I was too serious about everything. So I said, "Oh, life is too boring." When you become too serious, it's too boring. So I just said I'm playful. So I used to have forgotten now. I'm not. I should be doing those actually. So yeah, one of those was I'm playful, and somehow I've lightened up. I became less serious about things, and even when issues are serious, I can still laugh. I can look at things, serious things, in a very light way, and then not feel the heat.
Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful example, just as simple as that. I'm playful, and it's
Yeah,
so good.
yeah. So I just wanted to say something to the people who are watching us. If you'd like to join us, you can call us. Um, Alternatively, you could leave messages, and we'll try to read the messages. If you have any question, rather than just hello and hi, we don't read those. But if you have any question you want to ask Mark, or you want to ask myself, we are going to look at the question in the last 10 minutes of our session, and we'll try to answer your questions if you have any. And I think it is almost time for a short break, but we have 3 minutes, Mark, before we go on a short break. So if you want to say something else before we go,
Yeah, okay, certainly.
it's your
I think
countdown.
right,
Countdown.
my countdown. I think to actually create, I think to bear in mind that you are the creator of your life. You're the creator, in meaning you're the creator of your life experience. So, yes, you're born in a certain family, certain circumstances, etc. But what you make of it is up to you. And I know in the world there's a big thing about blame culture and
Yeah,
so
the
much,
blame
but
game.
the blame game, but it doesn't work. It disempowers you to blame anyone else, even the government, which many times we can say, well, yeah, okay, they
It's
are
the government's
responsible for
fault.
certain things, the government's
Yeah,
fault.
yeah.
But I have to be careful I don't blame everything on others. And so change blame into responsibility, as I mentioned earlier, and recognize I'm a powerful being. I have a choice what to think, and I can even choose what I want to feel. I have a choice how to interpret what other people do and say to me. I have a choice how to respond. And so, if I realize that I am actually an empowered individual, then naturally I'm going to respond in a more conducive way, a more peaceful way, and that's going to increase the power energy in the self.
That's brilliant. Yeah. So, yeah, we definitely need to change the blame game and
Certainly,
take
yes.
responsibility. Because if we want different results, if we want better results, we need to take better actions. And action that keeps us on the driving seat, that I am responsible for what happens in my life. I'm responsible for who I allow into my life. A lot of the times, just before going to the break, Mark, I just remember, and I don't want to forget that. I remember the first time I met Dadi Janki. I took one thing. I was taking one thing at a time, and she said, if you don't have the power to say no, then you have no power at all.
Mm, so wise, huh?
So wise. With that, we're going for a short break, and we'll come back soon. Welcome back, Mark.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, viewers, for staying with us. So yeah, we are talking about the power of the word no.
Yes, we were.
You know, Mark, it is also linked to our belief system. So a lot of the times, like the culture where I grew up, you are not supposed to say no to anything that your elders ask of you. Even if your consciousness and if your whole existence screams out, say no, I don't want to, You are not supposed to, because this is one of the beliefs that you should obey your elders to the word, literally. So this then actually um, creates such a behavioral problem in us that we cannot even say no to strangers, and we get stuck in the yes trap, say yes to everything. So this belief alone, that is so damaging. Because if you say yes to things, and when you know somebody is saying something that is wrong, or they ask you to do something which is not good for you, or for somebody else, and you still say yes and you still do it, by doing that you actually reduce yourself as a person.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because all of these are cultural systems, moral
Beliefs.
systems, beliefs, yeah, beliefs, codes
Yeah.
of conduct, and they're embedded in society. So you're not going to change those. That's just how they are, and it's like a wave. So they would have been changing over time,
Mm-hmm.
like everything does. But whatever is the prevailing belief system of the culture or the community, then that is it. So I don't think it's worth. It's certainly not worth fighting that, and you don't have to. And that's where I think that the where spiritual power comes in is because when you start giving attention to your own mind
Mm-hmm.
and your own feelings and your own awareness, then you start to understand yourself more. And then when you also start to practice to be in the consciousness of the self, excuse
Mm-hmm.
me, as a spiritual being, a soul, a ruh, and that you're peaceful by nature, powerful by nature, as
Mm-hmm.
you start to understand yourself and experience those real original qualities of the soul, then you no longer feel vulnerable. You no longer feel controlled. And yes, you may still be in a community which expects you to
Behave
say
certain
yes,
way.
behave in a certain way,
Yeah.
certainly. But then you can, instead of feeling trapped and contained or controlled, by having that spiritual power, you have wisdom. So it's like you can navigate like a dancer, dancing around the people or the situations. And yes, occasionally you may have to use the power to face someone or a situation,
Mm-hmm.
but as you become more astute, more aware, then you're able to have less clashes and sometimes say yes, but other times when you feel, well, no, this is not good for me, you can find a way of navigating around it. So
Yes.
it's about personal spiritual empowerment.
Mm-hmm. That is, yeah. Um, I think the other belief that you already mentioned, I just wanted to repeat, if possible, because for the benefit of people who are watching us, that the belief that somebody else is responsible for the mess in our lives to this day. There might have been at some point in life, they might have done something, and as a result, things didn't go the way they were supposed to go. But what we have today, we alone are responsible for what is happening in our lives. And we can
That's right.
also, like, taking responsibility, we can also say no to things we think is not good for us, no matter who is telling us to do or say those things.
Is it good for us to,
If something is bad for us, and
yeah,
just because we believe that we have to agree, do you think there is a underlying fear with that is at work when we agree to everything? When somebody said, for example, an
yeah,
influential person.
I think that you've mentioned something really important actually there, Siddiqa, that very often there is a fear of saying no, a fear of rocking the boat, a fear of upsetting people, and that fear can be based on literally a fear of the other person, or it can be a fear of having the attention
Abandonment.
on you, fear of abandonment, certainly.
Yeah.
That's a very deep one, which kind of permeates through us from childhood. So we do have a lot of fears inside, and that's why I always feel that it's a spiritual solution which is at the heart of all of these things. Because
Mm-hmm.
you can create all sorts of strategies and whatnot, and they're good for the temporary period and the surface things,
Mm-hmm.
but for deep down real change, I think it needs to be spiritual. Because if you are a spiritual being, and I think all of us are, all souls, living beings, then we do need to be aware of that. We do need to get back in touch with ourselves. And only when we're really in touch with ourselves, then all of the barriers, all of the defense mechanisms, all of the
Mm-hmm.
fears start to, if
Vanish.
not wash away, yeah, they vanish, they dissolve, or at the very least, they start loosening. So you start to experience that they've got less of a hold on you, and it's a journey. Some fears go very quickly, but some may stay with you a long time. But you can
Mm.
feel they're loosening.
Yes. So awareness that we have these beliefs, check. Would you say it's a good idea for us to check in with our belief system? So the things that we believe, why do we believe them, and how are they serving us, or how have they become a hindrance to our success, our happiness?
Yes, definitely. In fact, there's a wonderful thing by Byron Katie called "The Works."
Mm-hmm.
Although I've never actually done it myself, but in essence, she suggests with beliefs to ask yourself when you say things about yourself, you ask, "Is this true?" And the first answer might be yes. But then you ask, "Is it always true?" And then, of course, it's not usually always true. And then you can ask, "Okay, is there another belief that would help me better?"
Mm-hmm.
And then third and fourthly, what would it be like if I started to use that belief? So swinging it around is actually questioning it. And I think
Yeah.
this is so important to start questioning things, and not
Mm-hmm.
questioning with doubt, but questioning with an attitude to understand and transform. Because people are always telling us things, our own mind is always telling us things, and often we just accept. Like in the media, they will tell
Mm-hmm.
you, but you have to clarify for yourself: is this right or is this not?
I was listening. I was listening to some psychiatrist, and they said how the broken record actually works in the subconscious. So if something, even if that is wrong, is a lie, and if you hear it a good number of times, that lie becomes a truth because you heard it so many times, and it just got registered in your brain. That's called a broken record, because broken record has been played up and up again and again, and then this is how a lot of the things are. I think they're not necessarily the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, but a lot of maybe um, half truth, little bit truth in there. But if our belief system can make us, become a hindrance, it could also become the key to our success, to our happiness, to whatever we want to do.
Absolutely, yes, because the beliefs are running the show, and so we really need to transform those. So, yeah, if I have empowering beliefs, if I have a belief that I deserve success, that I deserve happiness, if I have a belief that I always meet interesting people, if I have a belief that wonderful things happen to me, if I have a belief that my body is healthy, if I have a belief that my relationships are deep and meaningful, etc., if I
Hmm.
cultivate those sorts of beliefs, then it is going to become a reality in the world because my reality is
Yeah,
the byproduct of my beliefs. It's very
amazing.
powerful.
Amazing. And yeah, it's just we don't pay enough attention to our beliefs and what is serving us, what is not serving us. And we don't even, oftentimes, we don't even investigate the truth, or what is our truth.
No, right, we don't, do we? And that's probably a failing of humanity. An analogy comes to mind as you were saying that, which is that if you've been going to a cinema
Mm-hmm.
and you've got the screen, so you're looking at the screen because that's why you're there, and then they're projecting a film onto the screen, and so your whole attention is where the image is being portrayed on the screen, but it's being
Mm-hmm.
projected from behind you, from the projector behind.
Yeah.
And so if you don't like what's on the screen, then when you're in the middle of a film, often you can be reacting to the things on the film, and you think, oh, that shouldn't happen, something else should happen. But what can you do? You can try as much as you like to change what's on the screen, but it's pointless because it's a projection. If you
Mm.
want to change anything, go to the back of the room and change the film, change the actual media that's there. And so that analogy is so useful. There is our life in front of us,
Yeah.
people, places, things, events. It's all unfolding. And anything you're reacting to means it's already happened. So how can you change it? Someone said something and
Yeah.
I react. And if you break it down, I am reacting to an
Mm-hmm.
event in the past which
Mm-hmm.
even God cannot change because it's
Mm-hmm.
happened. And so
True.
it doesn't make any sense, although we can try very hard. But if I back up and think, well, okay, let me go within myself, because although in front of me is like the projection screen, but
Yeah.
the way I'm seeing it is based on my inner belief systems. And so I can change those. That's like changing the reel of the film.
We are going to finish in 5 minutes today, Mark,
Yeah.
because I need to break my fast. And thank you so much for coming um, at such a short notice at a different time, because we usually do in the morning, midday.
Hmm.
So I just wonder if you could do. It sounds like I could feel that it's time for meditation. I just so
Certainly.
badly need one. So if you could lead a
Okay.
meditation.
Taking a deep breath in and breathe out slowly, releasing, relaxing completely, and consciously allowing your whole body to completely relax, letting go. And as you do so, bring your attention to your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, which you may notice are taking place in the forehead of your body. Just to notice the currents within your thoughts, the deeper feelings. So I want you to imagine for a moment how you would feel if you were very empowered. Imagine being that empowered person. What would it feel like to experience that strength, inner resilience, certainty, confidence? What does that look like to you? Imagine waking up in the morning feeling an enthusiasm for the day, there's a sense of adventure, another opportunity. And imagine going about your day maintaining that sense of optimism, knowing that whatever happens, you can find the strength in yourself. And even if you can't find it in yourself, you can get it from Allah, from God. And He's there to give us that strength. So imagine the joy, the wonder of living life from the inside out, meaning from an inner place of peace, of love, of self-respect. And from that place, entering into relationships, activities, and the journey of life through the day. And finally, to deeply appreciate that you are a wonderful soul, a beautiful soul, and a powerful, peaceful soul. Om Shanti. I am peace.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mark. So
Thank you.
with that, such a wonderful meditation and on subject of checking our belief system, I think it would be good to set some homework for next week. So
Okay.
I'm gonna write down a few things, a few good things about myself. I'm gonna have a good vision of myself, and I wonder people who are watching us if they could write a few, maybe 5 good things about themselves. So I said I am playful. Maybe we could add something else like I am proactive. I'm a leader. Things like that. So it would be good to know what people, if anybody wants to join in and share with us what they have written about themselves. That would be really great. Thank you so much once again, Mark. And I'm dying from thirst, so I'm gonna run and make my fast.
Certainly. Enjoy. Take care and
Before,
enjoy.
before we meet again, it will be Eid. So I'm just gonna quickly, briefly say Eid Mubarak to everyone because I won't get the chance to see them before
Right.
Thursday.
Eid Mubarak.
Take care, Mark, and speak soon.
Speak soon. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Take care and stay blessed. Over to you, Mark. Would you like to say goodbye?
Oh, yes, indeed. So have a wonderful week. Eid Mubarak. And uh, Siddiqa gave you some wonderful ideas for homework. And it's really good to keep the intellect working and be proactive. So, and you can just see miracles happen. So have a miraculous week.
Thank you.